This Father's Day weekend at Builders Paradise, we've got big deals for dad and low prices for all. Yes, we've got a massive 25% off store-wide on all discountable items. Yes! Already low everyday prices. From power tools to paint, lumber to lighting and more. It's all at Builder's Paradise. And it's all on sale. Show Dad some love for the gear he wants at everyday low prices you love. But don't wait. The sale runs for 3 days only. Thursday, June 12th, Friday, June 13th, and Saturday, June 14th. Father's Day weekend only at Builder's Paradise, where big deals for dad and everyday low prices for all come together. Happy Father's Day from Builder's Paradise.
Ready to save while you build? Now you can at Builders Paradise. Yes, shoppers, build up your Value Club points at Builders Paradise. That's right, Value Club members and shoppers, your favorite frequent buyer club is now available at the home of hardware and more. Whether you're laying tiles, painting walls, replacing doors, upgrading windows, or fixing up your home, every purchase at Builders Paradise now earns you Value Club points. Enjoy exclusive benefits like discounts on thousands of items, special savings for seniors, instant deals, quarterly rebates, plus an extra up to 2% off every quarter. Shop more, save more, earn more, only at Builders Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builders Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, welcome back to Voices, DJ Flames, better known as Dwayne Ferguson if you know me very personally. But hey, I'm here with Mistress Jean William Knight, and we're talking about the press release that was released from the AG office pertaining to ECHO operating in St. Kitts and Nevis, and what is the next step going forward to ensure that your creative's work is protected in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and beyond our shores as well. If you're listening and you want to take part in this conversation, you can call 466-0989. That's the local number. And Gian, let's talk about the registry a little bit. That you work. A lot of people still is hesitant to go and register their work.
So when it comes to copyright, there is not a voluntary registration system. Copyright, you don't have to register in order to have your work protected. It is an automatic right once you've created something original, and so it's not that you have to register it. Although we often encourage people to make sure that they can prove that they were the creator. Because if there becomes an issue where somebody challenges your ownership, then you need to be in a position to show that I created this on the 17th of February 2019, and this is my evidence to show. And then that's how you'll be able to establish ownership. So when you write or when you create something, we usually advise people to make sure that they have proof. Ed Sheeran, for example, Ed Sheeran has been sued so many times for copyright infringement that he started filming his writing sessions to show people, like, this is my process. I was in the room by myself, or it was only me and this other person. So he started doing that as a way of establishing his ownership, because he keeps getting challenged. But people only go after the successful ones when it comes to copyright. So that's something that we do. But it's again, I think we're a very responsive office, because people have been asking to be able to go somewhere and take their work and receive some sort of certificate or something that says Dwayne Ferguson submitted this on 19th of February 2025, and so this is also another piece of evidence that he could use to show that at least the work was in his possession. We can't say that you were the owner because we don't know if you created it, but at least you have something that says somebody else saw this, at least as of February 19th, 2025. So we're working on developing that system. We have upgraded our operating system in the office to a now cloud-based storage. So we have more space to be able to do those things. So that is one of the projects that WIPO will be working with us next year to deliver for people in St. Kitts and Nevis.
And now that you guys sign on to WIPO, pertaining to territorial now, how, like, if I register DJ Flames, like I want to trademark it or copyright it the way that.
No, well, trademarks is different from copyright.
If I want to copyright.
No, well, you would trademark it.
Yes.
You would trademark it. So let's use an example. DJ Flames as your name. You would trademark that. You can't copyright that.
Trademark,
So you trademark that, and if you trademark that in St. Kitts and Nevis, it only protects you in St. Kitts and Nevis. However, it doesn't stop you from trademarking it in other countries where, let's say you go to Canada a lot. So then you might trademark it in Canada so that there is nobody else who's able to go by the name DJ Flames when they're talking about DJing and party promotion and things like that. So that's how trademark works. Trademarks is based on territory. But copyright is different. Yes. So no, DJ Flames writes a book. No. And your rights. So you have the automatic copyright by virtue of writing that book. So now, if somebody in Australia finds your book and decides to take your words and put a different cover on it and a different name, because copyright is different from trademarks, every country that has signed on to a treaty called the Berne Convention, you have protection in those countries. So Australia happens to be one of the countries that signed on to the Berne Convention. So even though the copyright infringement of your book took place in Australia, you would still be able to sue them. You have to go to Australia though, but but the fact is that you have a right, even though you're in St. Kitts and they're in Australia.
All right. So even though they're not legally operational, when we pass this stage, what will be the norm going forward when it comes to entertainment and creatives and live performance?
You mean with Echo?
Yes.
So hopefully when things die down and cooler heads prevail, and Echo becomes authorized, then we would every year be asking them to update their information, and every year they get a certificate of authorization, and then now is when you would hear things like, I imagine the police now would have a right to say you can't have an event without getting an Echo license, because you want to make sure that the laws that give the public performance right are protected. So I think it's going to take also some of the hostility out of the air, because I know, for example, one of the things that I've heard that Echo does is, let's say, I don't want to use, let's say I have a party. Let's say I want to have a fete.
Yes.
And Echo might write me and say, by the copyright law, you're supposed to get a license. And I say, man, we ain't studying them. One of the things that I've seen Echo do, they will write to my sponsors and tell my sponsors that I'm not a law-abiding citizen, and maybe you don't want to support somebody who's not being legal or whatever. And that causes a lot of hostility.
And that is in the Constitution, though.
What?
If you take any part in infringing on anyone thing.
Well, it's part of the act. It's part of the act.
Whether it's your building, whether it's your home, whether it's your sound system, whether it's your land.
If you contribute to the infringement, if you knowingly contribute to the infringement, then you're also guilty of secondary infringement. So that's what I think that they try to do by forcing persons to then comply. That. But once there's an air of transparency and people can find out more about it, then hopefully we don't have to resort to those kind of measures.
The buck stop with the police, because everyone are doing. For example, for you to do any public event, you need a permit, and I think I would hope that it's stipulated in the amending act or the new regulation that is in the act stating that the police are authorized to ensure that you have, like, I know it used to be on the police site where that once you are putting
applying
in for permit, you have to upload the certificate from ECHO.
Right. But I think that in itself used to cause a lot of discord as well, because the same thing now we're making people do things that they're not accustomed of doing, and they don't understand why they have to do it. So again, that was the primary purpose of passing the regulations, to introduce a system where people could transparently and confidently understand who this association is and why they operate and how they operate.
But it goes back to what I said earlier. Communication. You know,
I hear you.
I was said to ECHO, and I was said to the government, when these things pass, you need to have a communication team that are going to ensure that the general public know what's going on. You know, yes, we have a media. The media have a responsibility to showcase and let the general public know what's going on. But the media is not going to run it for 6 weeks. You know, they might report it today, tomorrow, and in 3 days' time, something else. So, but I think it's a responsibility of the government or any organization that is operational to take money from people or to put laws into place that we're supposed to govern by. Should communicate it to the public, and it can't be just a 1 day or 2 day. It have to be something that a period of time becomes now.
And I accept that. That would be ideal. But it's also not unusual, because there are probably laws that are passed that people never get a chance to comment on before. But I think the government generally has been doing a better job at informing people about the changes. But I'm telling you, Flames, and you will hear me say it many times, we don't pay attention until trouble happens.
Repetitive eventually catch people.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things we'd have to repeat.
And I think this would be a good thing the creative economy can use to, you know, get more, you know, in touch with the creatives. Like, you know, show them, like, you know, this is the new amendment, this is what we're doing for you, and communicate it to the creative out there. So I think maybe the disconnect is that, yes, you have the register, yes, you have the AG, but I think everybody should be working in one. The register, the AG, ECHO, and the creative economy.
So everyone you think do you think, Flames, that if the government told ECHO maybe a month before that this law was coming into play, that we wouldn't be here?
One thing I like to look at what we did to get here, and based on what's been going on in St. Kitts when it comes to protecting the creatives, it's been a drag. things not passing through Parliament. People don't want to enforce the law and what's not. I think more time should have been given.
But Flames,
More
I
time should
read
have
out the
given.
things that they
Yeah.
have.
We
It's
can-
not.
we can-
It's
one
like
thing
me
I-
asking you for a copy of your driver's license.
I know,
Should
but
it
but,
take you
but,
5 months
but,
to
but
give
look
me?
at this in St. Kitts. Look at this. Something that never been done before.
But it has been done before.
No, not in that capacity. So what
Okay.
I'm saying, it is in both party best interests to ensure what the government decide we on this treaty, so we're going to ensure that we protect A, B, C, D, F, G. In order to protect, we need A, B, C, which is ECHO or any other person who want to come in and set up shop. Okay, ECHO, this is the law. We're going to give you at least 90 days or 60 days. You can't give 5 days, much less a week. Things like this take time. Who knows? Probably ECHO been taking a little time to, structuring themselves more and more, but cannot fully structure themselves based on that. There's no provision in St. Kitts to say this is how we're gonna go and operate going forward.
So why not say that? Why then say? Because you're saying, in response to finding out late, they could have said, we need time. They could have said that.
And
You're saying that they
I'm
could have
also
said
waiting
that.
for a response from ECHO, and I'm also waiting to see something published from ECHO. I'm not sure if that I've done yet. I'm waiting, but I haven't seen anything come as a press release to this radio station or in my email. Kind of, I'll get email about certain things. So I'm just hoping that ECHO will respond not just to the government, but also to the general public, because they have obligation as well to ensure the public understand what is going on and what they're going to do going forward.
Their
and stuff like that.
their members have to understand what's going on. But I would have loved to be able to have more consultation. It didn't happen, and as I said, it's not an obligation for it to happen. So I don't think that anything illegal was done. It didn't work out how, in the ideal setting or in the ideal way. But the fact is that we are here now. And rather than ask for more time, the response was, this is illegal. What you're doing is not legal, and we're not going to abide by it.
Well, that's the next story.
So hopefully,
I'm hoping
because
they
like
can
I
get-
said, I can't speak for them. I won't speak for them. But they have to explain to their members as well. But I will say before we go for our break, Flames, that this administration has been the most willing to consult and work
I
with
can,
ECHO.
I can get a little clap for that.
Within
We're in the final stretch.
within a month of the AG taking office, he called a meeting with ECHO. They didn't ask you.
I know
called.
because from the first instance, as just said, we're going for a break. For the first instant, I was saying yes, this is it, and I see yes, ECHO is this. You must comply with ECHO, and then he had to retract again. That's the next thing. He had to retract that statement when he said earlier that we need to comply with ECHO, and something ended up happening, and I think we had to retract that statement. And then I'm not sure if that's where the rifts start, but look, I don't think ECHO should be having an issue and the government should be having an issue. They should be working together to make sure that the right thing is done for everyone, for the government, for ECHO, and for ECHO members. We're going to take a short commercial break and come back with Voices.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Get ready for the biggest Father's Day weekend sale ever from June 12th to 14th. Hostel's Furniture and Appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers, and Builders Paradise are bringing you incredible savings and a special men's health and wellness fair. Take 25% off at Hostel's Furniture and Appliances, plus double cash back for free groceries with every higher purchase. It's the perfect time to upgrade your home and fill your pantry. And that's not all. Get 25% off store-wide at Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers and Builders Paradise on all discountable items. On Saturday, June 14th, don't miss our men's health and wellness fair at Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Get free diabetes, HIV, blood pressure checks, plus customer giveaways and so much more. Celebrate that this Father's Day weekend only at Hostel's Furniture and Appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers, and Builders Paradise. Terms and conditions apply.
This Father's Day weekend at Builders Paradise, we've got big deals for dad and low prices for all. Yes, we've got a massive 25% off store-wide on all discountable items. Yes, 25% off Builders Paradise, already low everyday prices. From power tools to paint, lumber to lighting and more. It's all at Builders Paradise. And it's all on sale. Show dad some love for the gear he wants at everyday low prices you love. But don't wait. The sale runs for 3 days only. Thursday, June 12th, Friday, June 13th, and Saturday, June 14th. Father's Day weekend only at Builders Paradise, where big deals for dad and everyday low prices for all come together. Happy Father's Day from Builders Paradise.
Attention, syndicates and Nevis. The countdown is on and time is running out. This is your final call, your last chance to save big at Hostel's Automotive Drawing or VAT Off Drive On Blowout event. It's your final call, your last chance to get up to $15,000 in total savings. No down payment, free servicing for 12 months, free bill of sale, $1,000 in groceries, or 3 months of free gas, free registration, licensing, tinting, and accessories, and 4% VAT off on top of it all. Yes, you've heard right. Everything free and 4% VAT off. But listen closely. This incredible sale ends when June ends. No extensions, no do-overs. This is your final call. Your last chance for the biggest auto sales saving for the year. So don't walk, run to Hostel's Automotive now. Your dream car is waiting, and these deals are ready to roll. Hostel's Automotive, where affordability meets the road. Terms and conditions apply.
Yes. Welcome back to Voices, and I'm here with Mistress Gian Williams Knight, and we are talking about ECHO, the AG, copyright, trademark. And if you want to take a part of the conversation, you can definitely give us a call. You're at 466-0989. So, Gian, pertaining to ECHO and the situation, can you update us pertaining to what this mean by saying it's signing on with what? To the World Intellectual Property. What it gave, like what we can and can't do now.
No, as I said, we've been a part of WIPO since 1995. Mm-hmm. But what happened in 2024?
I think they say we are signatory.
We are signatory to a number of treaties now, specific treaties. So, for example, we signed on to a treaty that allows us to put in our law that if, let's say, for example, you want to convert a book into Braille, mm-hmm. so that persons with visual impairments, mm-hmm. could have access to it, then that wouldn't be illegal. Mm-hmm. So something as simple as that would be seen as illegal because you're changing the format of a book into a different format. Mm-hmm. But it's and if you do that without permission, then it would be illegal. So we signed on to a treaty to give greater access to people with visual impairments, to allow works to be converted into other formats so that people with visual impairments could have access to it. We signed on to a number of treaties as well, other copyright treaties, but essentially the point is that we want to position St. Kitts and Nevis as a destination where intellectual property rights are protected by being able to show that we are taking decisive, conclusive action to prove that we are taking this very seriously. So passing CMO regulations was just one thing. But the end goal of all of these things are really, as I said, to show that the government is taking intellectual property rights seriously. This is the new domain of money making. Yeah. We see that with YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and people becoming millionaires off of content that they're creating. It's because of intellectual property rights that they're able to do that and the royalties that they receive. Now, even as I mentioned, that one of the questions that we're often asked is, well, why can't we monetize our YouTube accounts and our Instagram accounts when we have millions of likes as well? Why are we not getting money here in St. Kitts and Nevis? And the answer is simply that these organizations have a list of countries that whose content they monetize. Yes. So they choose who they want to monetize. Every country does not have the privilege. St. Kitts and Nevis does not have that privilege. We're not on the list. So that is why even if somebody in St. Kitts and Nevis creates content and it goes up to 2 million views, they wouldn't get a cent for it because St. Kitts and Nevis is not recognized as one of the countries. Why?
And who authorized that? That's not part of, that's a geo issue when it comes to...
No, that's just YouTube deciding who they're going to monetize.
Okay, so it's a territorial...
Yeah, they choose which countries they're going to monetize. As far as I can remember, I think Jamaica might be the only one.
Yes, Jamaica does
where they monetize, their content is monetized. But that's one of the things that we're trying to do with all this regulation, to prove to these companies that you could monetize us.
Okay.
Because we take these rights serious. Well, it's not that we have to reach a certain standard. I think size is also a consideration. We don't know what the full considerations are, but we think it's in our best interest to show ourselves as serious, as a serious country who is intent on becoming a space where people can benefit from creativity. Like data and creativity are the new ways people are making money now. That's how we see people never step foot in a university and becoming millionaires because they understand the value of their creative minds and their creative inputs. So that's what we're really trying to do as an office and as a government. We have really taken on this mandate from the Prime Minister, particularly with the Sustainable Island State. We can't keep focusing on tourism anymore. We really have to think about diversifying and finding ways that people can...
I know people like to say we can't depend on tourism no more.
Well, not solely, of course.
Because there is visitors, tourists, like come on the ship or on the plane weekend, but you got entertainment tourists. There's different way you can sector and find, because, for example, a lot of great musicians are film producers, filmmakers. They're looking for places to come and film.
So you want to make sure that.
So when I hear people say, "Oh, tourism," like there's different, even there's sports tourism as well. That people come when the place is cold to train in St. Kitts with their whole team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But not to stray from the topic.
No, I mean all of this is the topic, really, because.
But one of the two questions that I really want to ask is about AI and copyright now. And that's what I want to ask. What framework is being put in place now to ensure that AI don't end up taking over and wipe out people, creative work, and mimicking people work, and what's that? What framework has been...
So, WIPO actually created a whole department in their organization. They call it the Frontier Technologies, a unit. And their job is to just consider those kind of questions. But AI is developing so fast, it is going to be unrealistic to expect that it can be contained in a way. There have been cases already where some countries have said we're not going to be protecting works that have been created using AI. So you see things, for example, where people are now publishing books and they have statements like in the book saying that no AI was used in the because somebody could go and tell ChatGPT, write me a 30,000 word book on something, and it pulls from everywhere. So it's been a heavily contested area in relation to ownership when people use AI to create copyright protected work. But it's I don't think we'll ever get ahead of it. I think we're gonna have to start developing frameworks where if you can prove that your work has been used in an AI work, then maybe you will have to sue the person who has, created that particular work. Like, for example, with these deep fakes with music and how people have been inputting Rihanna's voice and Drake's voice and stuff and writing new lyrics and coming up with songs. You think that Drake has written this, Drake come up with a new song, but it's just somebody inputting Drake's voice and making up some lyrics using AI and come up with a song. Why shouldn't Drake benefit from that? Instead of saying, well, it's not illegal. Let Drake, they use, it is clear whose voice they've created.
Even better, create the song. Use the AI to do the demo and send it to Drake. Who knows? Drake probably would end up, buying the song. I'm just saying,
you never know.
But people
I
like
think
to
it's
go.
just a person. People
like to go the easiest way.
Yeah, it's difficult to navigate. It really is difficult to navigate, and there are some people who say, particularly that because of AI, IP won't be, IP management won't be something relevant in the coming years. But once people are still creating original work, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything has already been done in one form or fashion, but we still can't. These tools are good to help us, but I don't think there'll ever be an end to human ingenuity and creativity. So there could never be an end to IP.
Okay. The next question I want to ask is pertaining to your likeness. For example, you're a striker for Newtown football, and TDC want to use you to market, selling a sport product or selling lumber and tool. What have been done to educate the masses and people using the likeness when it comes to, for example, using Sugar Bowl up and down the place and a lot of billboards and stuff like that?
So actually, likeness is not necessarily an IP issue, but it can be a legal issue. And we've had court cases that have said that persons who are able to gain economic benefit from the use of their likeness, they have the right to determine how it is used. So, if somebody is using popular people in ads, there should be payment for use of their likeness. and you can't just take a picture of Flames and decide to throw it up on your wall and use it in a promo or something like that. Like, if you are able to get economic benefit from the use of your face, then there should be some payment for that. That's not necessarily IP, as I said, but that's just a legal principle. So when, for example, we see all these FIFA video games and things like that, all those players had to give up their well, you call them personality rights. So they would have had to give up, signed off and said, I give the FIFA video game developers the right to include me in their game, because all of this is potential to make money.
Yeah.
You've chosen to use this particular person for a reason, because it's going to pull people. And our job as an IP office is to make people aware of these sorts of possibilities. We actually just completed a project on IP and sports, identifying the same thing, where these clubs have their jerseys and so on. Like, they should be the only ones printing jerseys, and people should have to come through them to buy jerseys. So these are the ways that you protect that. But you can't protect that unless you protect the intellectual property behind it. So let's say, for example, Village, what's it called, Hotspurs, they have a logo.
Village Superstars, I think.
Village Superstars. So who's Hotspurs? You could tell
Garden
them
Hotspurs.
football. Yes, but
I used to
but
play for Newtowns and all of
right.
Yeah.
So all of them, they have their trademarks, they have their logos. You register those, and then they have the exclusive right to use it. So persons who want to print shirts and do all these things have to get their permission, and permission comes with a cost. So these are different ways that people could use to generate income for their teams and for themselves. And so we're gonna be rolling out that project on IP and sports later this year, so that people get a better understanding of using intellectual property or leveraging your intellectual property to gain income.
So I can depend on you to see some of that communication coming through and WinFM to ensure we educate the public. Because it's
one thing you could say about me, and I am everywhere. I go everywhere. So of course that's going to be in the works.
I like to say the lack of attention shouldn't deter the full extent of your communication. You need to put it out there. One thing I've learned, if you keep on repeating something, eventually it will stick with people.
I understand, Flames, but I
keep
have
on
to
saying it, this country is a great country, but like we are unique. The amount of talent that is here as well. So the creatives out there, you guys need to ensure that you protect your creative work and ensure you sign up with the appropriate authority to ensure that when people are using your creative work, you can get compensated in the right manner.
But Flames, as I just as much as I say, people don't pay attention until something goes bad. It's the same thing with public education. Like you talk and you talk and you talk and you talk, and people don't pay attention. They also don't pay attention until they see success.
Yes.
So it's like we never had more interest in artists registering trademarks until they saw that iMac did it. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
iMac came and he asked questions, and he eventually went ahead and registered his trademark.
Yeah.
And then when iMac posted about that, it's like other people came up and was like, they wanted to know as well.
And it's for years we've been pushing the creatives to, get it done right, to ensure that your work is protected. Because I've seen artists end up realizing that the song was in a commercial for a major company, and they realized that they could have made you know, some good change. Know that they understand what, you know,
Yeah, but
going
you know,
on.
even as you said that, you just brought to my mind again the issue of people paying licensing fees to Echo. People have to, because I've heard a number of people say, well, you know, my songs is playing on the radio and Echo never once bring any money to me. But the fact of the matter is, Echo distributes what it collects. So if all they have collected is the size of a cupcake,
Yes.
you can't expect to get a big chunk of a cupcake when there are so many people have to get from this cupcake.
That's true.
So for the system to work, it's going to have to be more people paying their license fees so that there is actually more to distribute.
And if that rate is not in compliance either, ECHO cannot take money from other,
Yeah.
you know, licensing fee and pay you. So that's something as well. And I'm hoping and praying that after everything is resolved, I mean, everyone will be able to fulfill the obligation. And I hope that the government also should put things in place where that if I have a club, just like how I have to ensure that I renew my business license every year to operate, I make sure that my liquor license is up to par. My food handler's permit for myself is up to par. It should be a procedure where that if I have a club and I am going to register my business license to get my business license, my liquor license for the year, the government put something in place, put something in place where that it should be a one-stop, or you have to have this to get this to get this. And in that where that even though we operational fully, we still have people decide that they're not paying and people skipping this. I
Right.
hope the government will put place
But
in.
I'm
you know,
saying, but I
because
think that is going to be a lot easier.
yeah, than policing it, because that's a problem we have with lot of policy and regulation in St. Kitts. Sometimes they don't police it properly. And if you're not policing it properly, some people are going to pay and some are not going to pay, and you're going to have a little rift. So I hope that the government is putting things in place that everything goes hand in hand in order for you to register, to renew your business
Right.
license based
But
on
I
your...
think the AG has been very clear when he has said he's not going to insist on that happening until ECHO is, properly authorized.
But that should have been in the new regulation going forward too. Because to me, that's why I said the government should facilitate to ensure that what needs to, the operational process is there that we can operate. Because if, for example now, say ECHO submit and they approve, it shouldn't be after ECHO submit and get approved, we should be ensuring that this be done. That should be in the regulation already, in paper, sign off and saying this is the norm that ECHO is supposed to operate on. If it's a radio station, you are supposed to pay this amount.
Well, I
if
think
there's a bar, you are supposed to pay a legal.
well, that's not going to be in those particular regulations. It might be in, let's say, if there's legislation governing radio stations, it would be in that legislation. But most of these legislations usually say you are required to do A, B, C, D, and then there's usually an E that says and any other requirement or something like that.
Yeah.
So we just have to get past this
Yeah,
stage.
we don't want it to become a where that is a policing issue now. We want it to come everything now is digital. Everyone doing everything online. So I just hope that that system is ready where that it should be a smooth transition. Not that when whichever CMO start operating St. Kitts now, they have to go and do this and do that. And I want it to be in a smooth way where everybody know this is the norm going forward. And everybody roll out the process and guide each other accordingly until it become, a part of us.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a short commercial break, and then we're going to come back to the final minutes of Vices right here on winnfm 98.9 on the FM dial.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Get ready for the biggest Father's Day weekend sale ever. From June 12th to 14th, Hostas Furniture and Appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Hostas Building and Nevis Centers, and Builders Paradise are bringing you incredible savings and a special men's health and wellness fair. Take 25% off at Hostas Furniture and Appliances, plus double cash back for free groceries with every higher purchase. It's the perfect time to upgrade your home and fill your pantry. And that's not all. Get 25% off store-wide at Hostas Building and Nevis Centers and Builders Paradise on all discountable items. On Saturday, June 14th, don't miss our men's health and wellness fair at Hostas Building and Nevis Centers from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Get free diabetes, HIV, blood pressure checks, plus customer giveaways and so much more. Celebrate that this Father's Day weekend only at Hostas Furniture and Appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Hostas Building and Nevis Centers, and Builders Paradise. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the final segment of Vices right here on winnfm 98.9 on the FM dial. And I'm sitting here with Mistress Jeanne Williams at night, and we're talking about various copyright issues, also with the press release from the AG office, and also stating that ECHO is not legitimate to operate in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So, you hold many positions. I think you actually been a part of ECHO.
Not ECHO. I'm not a part of ECHO Flames.
Anymore,
Don't put me in trouble.
But you have been a part of the I would say the team that been trying to ensure that things are get done properly in St. Kitts and Nevis. Since I know you, it's something.
Yeah, I mean, as part of the office, because we're the office that's responsible for, developing the framework to make sure that IP rights are respected and administered. Yeah. So that's how I'm involved. If I could say, sometimes I come and I've sat on interviews or go places and I show up with ECHO, and sometimes people think I am a part of ECHO, or some people have accused me of siding with ECHO and things like that.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, but my thing is, I the only side I have ever been on is the side of the law. And the law requires the public performance right to be recognized and administered correctly, and that is not going to happen without an organization like ECHO. We really want to see, I would really love to see more public acceptance. I mean, we could always say awareness, but more acceptance, like understand the bigger picture, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to do. And I know in some cases it's people are not against them, people are against the way that they do things. Yeah. So ECHO also has to be open to understanding that maybe some of the things that they do are not really conducive to the climate the climate that you really want to operate in. But we have to be able to have these kind of conversations where ECHO could look to the government and say, hey, we don't like when that you did this. But the government should be able to look to ECHO and say, hey, we don't like when you did this as well. And it not turn into a legal battle. Okay. I would really like us to get to that point where...
And just to be clear, when it comes to ECHO submitting the requirements that required in the Constitution now. They submit it to
Well,
your
not
office.
the Constitution,
to
the regulations.
The regulation.
Yes.
They submit it to your office.
Yes. Yes.
So ECHO just need to just come to you
And I read out to you what
Mhm.
we asked them for.
Yeah.
It's nothing that they shouldn't
so
already have.
and it's not going from here, there, and everywhere. Just come to you one
That's
stop,
it,
and
there's
that's it.
there's no charge or anything. We really
Yeah.
just want to be able to have a record
Yeah.
that the public can inspect if they have questions.
And with a CMO like ECHO, they're required to obtain approval from which entity to operate as a CMO, if you have knowledge to that.
What they have done is register with the company's registry as a non-profit organization, because organizations like ECHO do not operate for profit. They're not trying to make money off of people, which is why they won't register as a business. It's not a profit entity, because they simply collect on behalf of the people who they have contracts with. They take some of that money to cover their administrative costs, and they distribute the rest.
Okay.
That is what they do. Some organizations have the additional responsibility, or they take on the additional responsibility of using some of that money to support or educate their members, but they have rules and regulations that say how they can do that. So it really is for the benefit of the people who, the songwriters and the music producers who sign on to be members of ECHO. They are the ones who should be talking. They are the ones who should be, rallying behind ECHO. You hired these people to do work for you, and I find they are the quietest group of people.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, I mean, I think we know why. I think you don't want to upset people, but
for the right thing.
because a lot of times people feel like it's a war between creatives and event promoters or business owners, and I guess maybe some people don't want to seem to be upsetting the event promoters who you still would turn around, you want to hire you. So
But it's a business, and that's why I continue to state that yes, we don't like to pay attention. We don't like to show up to forums to get educated based on what is happening, and even in your own field that you create your craft. But I don't think that should deter ECHO or the creative economy from putting out this information out there, so people can understand what is going to be the norm going forward, what to look out for, what the police can and can't do. It is everyone's obligation to get that message out there, and the public eventually will able to adapt to it once it being repetitive over a period of time.
Yeah, we just need to
resources, but we live in a digital thing. I mean, we have radio station. You can come on. You could ask a 10 minutes interview twice a month or twice a week. Different ways I think we can use to communicate effectively to get it up, because it's something good for Sankits. I know with this, the industry should be able to move forward and start to grow in a better manner.
It's the best chance we have.
Yeah.
We need everybody on board.
Yeah. So we live in a digital world, as you all of us are aware. What have been done, or what mechanism that you have in place to monitor that people copyright is not infringed online? Once you post something online now,
the mechanisms to make sure that as far as from my office's vantage point, the only mechanism we could do to ensure is to educate our owners and our creators. We don't monitor for you.
Monitor.
No,
not for ECHO, like for
if you are creating your music, it's your responsibility to monitor it, not the IP office.
Okay.
So that's, sometimes things happen and people say, oh, this person been using my song, and they come to the office like, we
Okay.
can't do anything for you.
But-
It's the same way.
But you see what I just did
Mm-hmm.
there. You see that question I just asked you. It goes to show, even though you are the IPO for St. Kitts and Nevis, there are certain things you cannot do. There are certain things that the government cannot do.
Yeah.
So you need each other. So it shouldn't have been in this way. Everybody was supposed to work behind the scenes, come up with the solution, put everything in one bowl, push it out, and everybody push the same message going forward. And I think the general public would respond better. It's too much
Yeah.
push pull here and there, and it's me and I am this and it's this. We need each other, because you cannot go and monitor. Even if I come and said I want to copyright my book, you cannot monitor my book for me. You want to make sure that if I want to go to court, I could come back and say in 1995 I registered this book. You know, whether I stole it from someone, but I was the one who registered it. But you need ECHO or a CMO. Let me not say ECHO. You need a CMO in your country or in that territory to monitor and to collect and to ensure that.
Yeah.
So we need each other.
Yep. So I hope you do your best to encourage Echo.
Every Grace is going to be in that city the next week or week after, because
Okay.
we're going to do a follow-up interview. I like to keep it balanced. I want to
Yeah.
get both side, not both side of the story. I want to get both side understanding, because
Yeah,
once the
yeah.
story is out, I'm just trying to understand why we reached to this stage and what we can do going forward to make sure that something like this never happening again, and what we can do going forward to work together to achieve the common goal.
Yeah, hostility and threats and distrust, it really has no place in this process, because as you rightfully said, we have to work together. Nobody can do it all on their own. Things don't always happen perfectly, and I would accept that even on the IPO side or the government side, maybe things weren't done perfectly, but it doesn't spoil the whole process because it wasn't done perfectly. So it's just a matter for us of being understanding and recognizing that if we really want to keep the focus on the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is the benefit of the creatives and the operation of a proper music industry in St. Kitts and Nevis, that we're going to have to go through these issues, and if we have to work together, I will repeat, I don't think that distrust or discord or threats have any place in the process, at least not when there hasn't been any consultation between the parties,
Yes. Yeah.
So I just really hope that things are resolved so that we could have a smooth process going forward, and everybody could finally come on board.
Yes. So what's next? This is my final question. What's next? And if nothing resolved before Music Fest, or nothing resolved for the next 3 months, I mean, what does that violate the treaty? Does that put the St. Kitts government at risk? Or that put companies at risk, promoters at risk? What?
It's the same environment where people don't pay licenses. Ideally, it's not what you want. It's not what you want. You want to be able to make sure that everything is above ground with the law. But the easiest way to make sure that there is no problems, I still maintain, is for ECHO to file the application for authorization with the requisite information so that we could move forward. Because what is the alternative? The alternative is that they don't file, but then they can't operate. And then who suffers? The people who they're supposed to be collecting for. I don't understand the end game, and I hope when you do your interview with ECHO that you get an understanding of it, so that maybe the public could get an understanding of it for the end game. Even if you want to challenge the way that things were done, what benefit does that bring if ultimately you say you have no problem being authorized? Like, you don't mind. That's like me and you agreeing to go somewhere and you pick me up early. Should I not show up should I not go at all because you picked me up early? You didn't call and say you were coming. Should I not go? No, because you didn't call before. So now you're here. You showed up early. You showed up when I wasn't expecting you. If I am so interested in getting to the place where I say I want to go, I will do my part to make sure that I'm ready. It just didn't work out as smoothly as we would have liked.
And for CMO, I don't think someone can just get up in St. Kitts and submit what you said and decide to think a CMO. They have to get, and that is the question I think I was asking you for. I think in order for you to represent creatives, you don't have to go through a process first before you could even come to the government or come to authority to say you want to register.
You're going to have to show that you have, as I mentioned, a substantial catalog of rights, and you're not going to be able to show that you have that catalog unless you are a part of a wider organization. And the thing is that these organizations operate based on jurisdiction. So like you mentioned, BMI and ASCAP, their jurisdiction is the United States. So
JCAP is Jamaica.
JCAP is Jamaica, right? COT is Trinidad and Tobago. COSCAP is Barbados. So ECHO is the recognized CMO for the Eastern Caribbean.
Okay.
So
in that part, they're legitimate to do that part because they have a sign-on, but they have to prove that to the register.
Yeah, just bring us. Wait. We're just asking for the evidence of that. We're asking for the evidence of that, so that persons, so when the people who come and say, "Oh, who these people be and how they're able to license songs and how it is," we could show them this is how it is happening.
Okay.
So that's all, Flames. That's all it is. It is not contentious. It is part of a process. It is the culmination of a process that ECHO has been involved in from the very beginning. The misstep or the flaw in this process from the government side is that they were informed 5 days after, 6 days after the law came into effect.
Okay.
And they would not have suffered any detriment because they didn't know.
So from 6 days till now, they should have put the ducks in a row. All right. There you have it. Voices with Gian Williams Knight. Letting us know the ins and outs between the press release from the AG office pertaining to ECHO is not legitimate to operate in St. Kitts and Nevis, and also giving some insight and copyright laws in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm Dwayne Ferguson, aka DJ Flames. I'm out. We're going to our midday news at this time.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news.